The victims of the Mmamatlakala bridge bus crash in Limpopo were captured at the Stockpoort port entry. And this is this border crossing between South Africa and Botswana. Since the accident, border management authorities have played a vital role to help identify passengers who were on board and those who were captured upon entry. The victims were on their way to the Easter pilgrimage at St. Engenas Zion Christian Church, and this is in Moria. Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala joins us now from the Stockpoort border post. Nqobile, good morning. And again, it's a weekend where families are mourning. We were speaking on, the day after this tragic and terrible bus accident happened, and there was so much confusion as to who was involved and what would be done in terms of the rescue and the search efforts. Just perhaps a quick status update on those developments before we talk about what's happening where you are.
Well, Iman, we know that at this point from the Department of Health that they're still doing that background part of their work, which is radiology, which we understand at this point they just need to ensure that every single remains is correct and it's given to the correct family. So that process is still ongoing. The Department of Health has already asked various people from the province to come in to assist, especially in areas that it's not so busy in terms of the hospital. So they're getting more help from some of the health workers. And as well as the part of Botswana, we understand that they themselves on the other side are communicating with the families. They're currently getting their DNA. This will also be used here in South Africa to ensure that the remains are given to the correct families. And we know that all of this is happening also with the help of various departments. And this, of course, includes the transport department. It also includes DIRCO. It includes Interpol. But we also understand that now with the list of who was in the bus, that, of course, came from BMA, which is why we bring them in now to speak to us, because one would have thought it's just a check-in, but obviously BMA have played a vital role in this. Tell us a bit about how you identified these victims.
No, thank you very much, Nqobile. The first thing maybe to indicate it is that it was on the 28th of this month, on Thursday, when the bus arrived at our port of entry, just here called Stockpoort port of entry. That is the port of entry from Botswana into South Africa. So the bus obviously arrived at the port as usual. So what we do when the bus arrives at the port, the driver actually presents what we call the passenger manifest, which is fairly a list of all of the people that are in the bus, including himself as the driver of the bus. So to that extent, we had to obviously take the list and then take the people's passports, and they appeared before our immigration specialists to be processed. So we processed all of the passengers that were in the bus, and we can confirm that all of the people had all the requisite documents as required for them to enter South Africa. That is the passports, and of course, even the bus itself did have, they did have the requisite documents in terms of the cross-border permit for them to be able to, to be authorized to move people, as it were. So on that basis, we processed all of those people, and of course, they came through into the country. They actually went through 518 or R158, as it were, and of course, the intention was to go link up to N1 and be able to go over into Moria. We did expect that there will be people who will be coming from other southern countries to South Africa for the purposes of going to Moria, as we have indicated even when we actually released or when we were given our statement for this particular operation. So fairly everything went according to plan. So when we heard about the incident, and of course we had to interact with our colleagues from Limpopo Transport Department as well as the Limpopo Health Department, and on that basis we were able to forward those lists, as it were. I did have a conversation myself with the MEC of Health here in Limpopo, Dr. Ramatuba, and on that basis, that is basically the contribution that we could do as the Border Management Authority.
All right. And I know because there was a lot of people coming into the country, obviously there are stats in terms of how many came, and do we have those numbers?
Yeah, you will remember, Nqobile, that up to this point we had fairly been handling the exit phase, of this festive period. That is from Tuesday, just in the past few days, until at least by Saturday. And on that basis, we can confirm that our exit phase has been executed according to plan. Everything went according to our Easter plan, as it were. If I can just give an indication of some of the figures on some of our top ports. A typical example, we're able to exit around 71,000 people out of South Africa into Mozambique through Limpopo, for instance. We're able to exit around 67,000 at Beitbridge into Zimbabwe and the continent. And in terms of air, OR Tambo, for instance, we're able to exit around 101,000 individuals out. And in terms of the seaport, Cape Town Harbour led, wherein we exited around 19,000 people. So from today, the 1st of April, 2024, we are officially now handling the return leg of the whole process, and to that extent, this is when we are going to start doing the actual work now in terms of the people returning back into the country. This return leg is going to run from today until Thursday, and by Thursday we are going to close our books. So in terms of the figures, we are going to give the figures in terms of the people that we would have been able to return back into the country. But more importantly, we will also be able to start indicating the numbers of the people that we would have intercepted trying to enter the Republic illegally. So up to this point, across all our ports, across the country, we have deployed all the key stakeholders, including the border guards, the members of the SNDF, the members of SAPS, and of course in terms of the traffic environment around the ports, we do have the relevant traffic authorities. So we are very much confident that we are ready to handle the return leg.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. That's, of course, Border Management Commissioner was speaking to us about that Easter traffic that's also expected to be leaving South Africa. But we do know that there are a number of people, like he explains, that have left the country, and they are expecting most of them to be coming back. So, Iman, if you just drive about 10 kilometers, you'll be slam bam in that border post that the bus went through. But, of course, because of the fact that there are signal issues in this area, we had to be at this point. But we are hearing, of course, from the border management that all documentation was on point, and they did give that list to the Department of Health as well as Traffic to ensure that they know exactly who was in the bus.
And it can be a great source of comfort, Nqobile, for the family members, to know that there is some administrative progress that is happening. People are accounted for, and they can kind of plan their way forward from here. Thank you very much for that. We'll certainly check in with you a little bit later on. Nqobile Madlala there.